Hi everyone, and welcome to my online course for research methods in psychology. As you might recall, my name is Frank Losciavo, and I am your instructor. I have a few important things to show you about research report number 2, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Let's take a quick look at the instructions for research report number 2. As you know, we've collected data for our second research project, and now we're in the process of analyzing those results. Of course, our ultimate goal is to communicate our findings by writing an APA-style research report. And that, my friends, is what this assignment is all about. You might recall that our first research report was relatively informal and geared toward helping students understand the general report writing process. Well, now that we have some experience, it's time to take our game to the next level. So this second report will be more formal, more professional. Long story short, I'll expect you to produce a higher quality report, and I know you'll rise to the challenge. For most of you, writing research report number 2 will be just like writing research report number 1, but the focus of research report 2 will be on our recent experimental research study. That said, I'm going to provide you with two options for writing this research report. You have an option to write it as a single study research report, just like you structured research report 1, or you have an option to write research report 2 as a multi-study research report. Most of you will probably select that first option to write a single study research report, just like you did for research report number 1. So let's start there. That would bring us right about here in the instructions. Let me just remind you that I'm here to help you. If you're spinning your wheels, if you're having some trouble, just let me know. Send me an email and I'll get you back on the right track. All right, let me give you a tip for how to get started. I recommend that you make a copy of your Research Report 1 template file. Remember, it's a Microsoft Word file. Make a copy of that file and start there. So, for example, here's my Research Report 1 template file. Research Report 1 was structured as a single study research report. So if you're going to write Research Report 2 as a single study research report, you can use this same template file. If you want to keep this original file intact, you can just create a copy of it, paste that copy in, and then rename it. Let's call it Research Report 2 template, and then you can start from there. Because this file is already formatted in APA style, all that you need to do is update the content. So, of course, you would need to update the title and everything else, your running head, your abstract, your discussion, your method section, everything would need to be updated, but my point is that this file already has the report formatted exactly as you need to format it, and that should save you quite a bit of time. As you're working on your report, right by your side, be sure to have a copy of the PDF file entitled RR2 Guidelines Single Study.pdf. That's this file right here. Throughout this file, I provide tips for writing research report number 2, so make sure you use this file to your advantage. You'll see that this file is structured for a single study research report, just like it was for research report number 1, but I've updated the tips and the information in each section, within the abstract, within the introduction. There are new tips and new information in the method section, in the results section, in the discussion section, and also I provide a new table to help you report the t-tests that we need to conduct to compare the control group with the experimental group. In other words, when you write your research report, you want this file right by your side. That brings us right about here in the instructions. In this section, I provide you with some additional tips. So, for example, for this second report, you'll need to cite 4 or more sources. Here we're talking about books, or chapters in an edited book, or journal articles. Be sure to read through the rest of those tips and guidelines, and if you have any questions, just let me know. Let's talk about that second option, which is writing a multi-study research report. Some of you might be interested in writing a report that combines Research Project 1, which was our survey research study, with Research Project 2, which is our current experimental study, into a multi-study research report. I think writing a multi-study research report is a really good idea, particularly if you're interested in graduate school. Now, just to be clear, writing a multi-study research report is completely optional. If you're not interested in doing that, if you just want to write a single study research report, that's fine. Just go ahead and skip these steps. But for those of you who are interested in writing a multi-study research report, let me tell you how to get started. Again, I recommend starting by making a copy of the template that we created for research report number 1. Even though it's structured as a single study research report, we can easily modify it for a multi-study research report. I discuss how to make those modifications in the PDF file entitled RR2 Guidelines Multi-Study.pdf. Let's take a look at that file. Generally speaking, there really aren't all that many modifications to make, and when there are modifications, I discuss them in detail in this document. So, for example, the title page and the abstract, they're formatted exactly the same. The introduction is formatted the same. The only thing that would be different about the introduction in a multi-study research report is that this introduction leads up to Study 1, our survey research project. So here you can see some modifications that I had to make. Instead of moving directly into the method section, I now have a heading labeled Study 1. And then at that point, I move right into the method section for Study 1. After discussing the method for Study 1, you then discuss the procedure for Study 1. And then you write about the results for Study 1. The results for Study 1 are followed by a brief discussion, and that discussion introduces Study 2. Here you see another main heading. It's for Study 2. And what follows is the method section for Study 2. Next is the procedure section for Study 2. And then the results section for Study 2. Then there's a brief discussion for Study 2, followed by a general discussion which summarizes the results across both Study 1 and Study 2. So, a multi-study research report is a bit more elaborate than a single study research report, but it's really much more impressive, and it does a great job of summarizing all the research that we did this semester. So, as I stated, writing a multi-study research report is completely optional, but I do hope that some of you take on that challenge. That brings us to about right here in the instructions. As you have in the past, you'll submit your report via our course website. So look at those instructions and make sure you follow them closely. Well, that's it for now. If you have any questions about writing your research report, just let me know. And stay tuned because I'll have more to say about research methods in the next video.